In a land where mountains touch the heavens, a boy's fate is forged on the ancient T-Horse Trail. Born a prince, taken away from his throne by a coup, he was thrust into a world of hardship and survival. On the T-Horse Trail, he survived. He found stories, lessons, and a brotherhood as strong as the mountains. In the sacred mountains, he discovered the secrets of the lamas, the strength of being a part of a unique community, and the courage to reclaim his life. Through peril and sacrifice, he carved a legacy that would go beyond borders and generations. The teachings of the mountains guided his steps, and their whispers became his songs. A sweeping saga of courage, culture, and the spirit of a boy who became a legend. The Ballads of the T-Horse Trail by Eva Folletta Wright. Available now.
Tenzin's caravan brought tea and coin to Lijiang, a city of trade and vibrant night markets. It was a place where stories began and lives intertwined. Amid the laughter and music, Tenzin's eyes found her. A woman who carried herself like a queen yet stood alone in the crowd.
These are best enjoyed when shared. You stand out in that dress.
My late husband believed a woman should dress for the world, not just her home.
Her words were sharp, her smile sharper. Tenzin knew she was no ordinary woman. Days turned into nights, and their bond grew. The widow, once guarded, began to let her walls down. Tenzin, a man of few words, found himself drawn to her strength and grace. A warlord's widow deserved a man of standing, and Tenzin's name carried weight. With courage and humility, he asked for her hand. Destiny had spoken. The stars and the 5 elements had aligned. Together they stepped into a new life, leaving the shadows of the past behind. A tale of love, courage, and destiny. A historical fiction of a crown prince's journey on the T-Horse Trail, now available on Amazon.
Hey guys, it's me, Yaya Diamond. What's up, man? I'm telling you, I'm having a great time interviewing people, going after their dreams and their goals. That's exactly what we're doing here. We do all kinds of different things here, but the biggest thing that we do is talk to people about their books, about their new music, about everything that they're doing in their lives. And I have one guest today that's on the show, and she wants to remain anonymous. It's kind of a mystery. It's like, what? I'm absolutely in love with this, because when this happens, it's like, ooh, mysterious. And I am so very much in love with her book. And she has a book about Tibet. I've never been to Tibet, but she has a book about Tibet. Her name is Ava, and Ava Wright, and I want to make sure that I say that right. Did I say that right, Ava?
I'm not too picky. I spent a lot of time in Tibet, and people called me all kinds of things.
So it's
And
Eva, Ava.
Eva, Ava, either one will do just fine.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the mystery of it all, too.
I am Miss Mysterious. And I'm always, always, always missing those Tibetan Himalayans.
Oh my gosh. You must tell me, what was it that gravitated you to write this book?
Well, I fell in love with the mountains there. And then I left, came back to the United States, and I miss it so much I started writing about it.
Mhm.
That's kind of shortened in a word, but I just couldn't bear to let any of those memories fade away and disappear and leave me.
Mhm. Wow. Wow, it's amazing what something else, like a change can do. Bringing in that change, bringing in that feeling. What was it like to go there, experience it, and then come back? What, besides the mountains, besides that, what else is missing here that they have there?
Oh, hospitality. If you think that any part of America, and that's even including the deep South, where people use the word at least,
Hmm.
if you think that people here have any idea what hospitality is, it means you haven't been to Tibet. People are so generous and so welcoming and so helpful of a stranger, even, and so kind as a first reaction. It's completely unforgettable, but it's more than that because you can miss it.
Hmm.
When you open your door to anybody who comes by, invite them in, take them on a tour of the house because they ask you to, give them some tea because they're in your house, and treat them like a friend. How how can you give that up?
To me, that's like you said, it's hospitality. It's like you can't give that up. So, why did you ever go back? I mean, what
Oh,
was
I
it?
went back several times, but
Uh-huh.
I came back to the United States in 2021, and I have not been back since then because because the government is difficult to deal with. And these days it's even more difficult to deal with. I think I have to wait until that difficulty resolves itself.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you mean by difficult? Is it the United States that's difficult? Is it Tibet that's difficult?
Tibet, Tibet, they are not, well, uh, Tibet in the sense of the government of Tibet, which of course is the Chinese government. It's the Chinese government who won't let Americans go into Tibet these days. So to
Mm,
say Tibet is difficult is a misstatement. It's the government of Tibet, which is not Tibetan.
hmm.
It's a Chinese colony.
Wow. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Wow. Wow, that is crazy. So, your book. Let's
Yeah.
let's reflect on that real quick. Let's talk about that. You have so many different aspects in your book. Tell me about, the main points of what you were trying to come through with this book.
Well, the book is about a person who I met. I met his two sons as well.
Hmm.
And the name in the book has been changed. The name in the book is Tenzin. That's not his real name. And he was born into an aristocratic household that, at the time of his birth, was the wealthiest family in Tibet. And
Hmm.
his father was the king of the eastern part of Tibet, which is the adventuresome, dashing part of Tibet. The northern part and the western part are full of deserts and also full of Tibetans, and they're lovely in their own way. But those mountains of eastern Tibet, of Kham, have you ever heard the word Kampa?
Yes, I have.
Kampas are the really dashing Tibetans, and they come from the area of Kham.
Hmm.
And this Tenzin's father was the king of Kham at that point.
Mm.
This was before the Chinese came in. And
Wow.
Tenzin's father had a son and a daughter, and he had some enemies. And his enemies invaded his palace in Chamdo and killed him and
Mm.
his wife. And his son and his daughter were stuffed into straw panniers and rushed out the back door on mules.
Mm.
And they got out of the palace. They didn't get caught. They had to go into the city a little bit of a ways to get across the big river. And they did that. They got across the big river on those inflated sheepskin rafts with the mules swimming beside the boat.
Mhm.
They got on the other side. They were stuffed back in their panniers, and they went on a multi-thousand-mile trip in the
Mm.
mountains away from the palace, and that was for the purpose of saving Tenzin's life.
Wow. How did you come about this history? Is it's real?
It's real.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
it's real. According to Tenzin himself, according to his two sons, who I also spoke to at some length, and not according to any written history, interestingly. This happened before the Chinese came in, and I suppose the palace records were burned or something. I was never able to get anything other than word of mouth details, but I got those details from the family members, from a few other members of the family. He had some daughters as well,
Mhm.
and from a local tulku.
Mm.
And do you know what a tulku is?
No, I do not.
Well, there's good reason to not know what a tulku is because we don't have them in this country. A
Mhm.
tulku is somebody who, like the Dalai Lama, can remember his previous life and is a reincarnation of somebody with enough spiritual training to be able to continue from incarnation to incarnation an identity and can remember all that. So I had met a tulku
Mhm.
in the western part of China, in Tibet, who was recognized as a tulku, and he was also appointed to be the all China leader of the Kamakaju Tibetan Buddhist lineage or sect.
Mm.
And I met him, and he knew Tenzin. He knew Tenzin's two sons, and he told me a good deal about them that I didn't know through any other source.
Mhm.
And in fact, he was the one who told me I should write a book about all this.
Wow.
And
Wow.
he told me that, and I said, no, I can't do that. I don't know enough about it. So sorry, but this is beyond my ability.
Yeah.
And I didn't think any more about it until I came here. And well, I've already told you why. I couldn't stop thinking about them.
Mhm.
He did ask me, and he's a tulku, and tulkus are pretty special people. They are meant to be honored. And he had made this request, and although I had denied it at first, that didn't mean it wasn't still out there.
Mhm.
So I did it, all 600 pages of it. The book is now only 550, but it turned out to be a lot of fun to write that
Wow.
book.
That is amazing. I've seen we don't have tukus here, like you said, but
Yeah.
I have heard of stories of people who have remembered their past lives
Yep. Yeah.
and I was like, what? Even to the point where I knew a person who said they don't want to come back again. And I was like, come back again. They're like, yeah, I've been here too many times. It's like,
Well, that's
okay.
a sad state of affairs for the world. If
Yeah.
the world is looking so terrible that somebody doesn't want to come back again, I believe the Dalai Lama has said that,
Mm.
among other people. He's said he doesn't think he's going to reincarnate again. And that would be terrible for
It would be.
a lot of people.
It would be. It definitely would be. Wow. Wow. This is amazing. I mean, are you planning on writing more about your experience?
I am. I have already started writing a sequel of sorts, a part of the book that I didn't give a whole lot of detail to the first time around. And I figured that book is almost written. It's in the editing stage at this point.
Nice.
And so long as I have two of them, I figured I might as well make it a trilogy. There was another character in the book
Ooh.
who was pretty interesting, the son of a Bon shaman, who was modeled after somebody who I knew. And growing up as the son of a shaman must be a really challenging experience.
It's got to be.
I heard through the grapevine that you're the daughter of a world renowned singer, and that's got to be a difficult thing to grow up and follow the footsteps of. And a shaman and with a son who does not want to be a shaman, there's a lot of emotional challenge and developments and interesting details in a story like that. So that would be the third one. After that, I think I'll rest.
Awesome. I mean, that sounds amazing. What advice would you give to someone who wants to learn about all of this stuff? I mean, I knew read your book and learn about the history because I mean, this is pretty much the history that it's history. It's like it's real.
It's
But
history. It's real.
but like people want to learn more about how to write about their experiences. What kind of advice do you give them? I mean, do they need to pay attention when they go somewhere? I mean, what is it?
Well, that's a good question, but I don't have a really good answer. I thought about that question and I tried writing about my long trip to Tibet and other parts of China before. And when I was even closer to the experience, in fact, when I was over there, I found it was impossible to write because I was too close. You need a little bit of distance in order to write in a way that somebody else who's distant from that same place can understand what you're saying and make sense of it. So I read a lot of advice and took courses, even a lot of advice on how you should write about the things you know. And of course, that's true. But you also need to have the right amount of distance. And then you just need to focus very hard and get to writing. But the one thing that never worked for me is journaling while I was there and then writing from my journal. Didn't work.
Gotcha. So how did you take the notes? How did you do this then?
Well, I knew the basic story to start with, so I knew what story I was going to write. Then I needed to research details. In the case of this book, I was lucky because there are a lot of oral histories about Tibetans living in the first half of the 1900s in, of all places, the Library of Congress. And the Tulku who told me to write the book, when I told him I didn't know enough about it, he said, "Of course you do. All you have to do is go to the Library of Congress and check out the details."
Wow.
And I thought to myself, that's ridiculous. And anyway, how would you know? And it turned out, A, he was right, and B, most of that stuff's online.
Wow.
So if you want to know more details about Tibet than you ever thought you wanted to know, you can look it up too, or anybody can. But you look it up, and then you have to see it through the eyes of people who know the details. You need, it's not a matter of taking everything you hear as God's truth. You have to figure out how it all fits together, makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. It's just such a pleasure to have you and to have the experience and to have the story. It's just wonderful. Where can people go to find your story, to look at the book?
The place to get the book is Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or Ingram Spark, or, well, there are other places, but those are the main sources. The secret of writing, if you're an author who hasn't written a great deal before, is that nobody buys your stuff. So the secret of getting somebody else to see a book that's been written is more challenging than writing the book. The bookstores are reluctant to publish a book that comes as something that has just been written and just been published,
Right.
and hasn't been marketed by another big name publisher. And so the end of the day, if you don't like getting something from Amazon, or you don't like getting something from Barnes and Noble, you've got to get it from a friend.
Yeah.
The tricky part about the book writing business is not the writing, it's getting somebody to help you spread it around.
Wow. And I didn't really think that that would be the case, but I can understand that. I can understand that. Well, that's why we're here, to spread it around.
Well, it's so much fun to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I have so much fun. I love this. Absolutely love, and to find out why people write their books and what it was that inspired them to go after this, and to dedicate, 500 and almost 600 pages.
Yeah, started
That's
out
dedication.
100. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely dedication. And a lot of people don't have the patience now. And I want to show them that, there is a way to do things little by little, takes time. Don't give up, keep going. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, get on some places like my podcast here and the TV show that we have here and spread it around.
Yeah, well, that's critically important. And there aren't enough people like you. How
Right.
do you teach more people to be like you?
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe I could. That's an idea. I never thought about that. That's an idea. Well, maybe I will.
A lot of talking to raise up a whole group of people who can do the things that you do, and you do it well. Not everybody does.
Right. Yeah.
So you're not keeping it to yourself, but you have a talent that other people need to learn about, and
Wow.
you should be teaching people how to be like you.
Well, thank you. My gosh. Oh, you got me. I'm all red underneath this makeup. Well, thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for
And
letting me on your show.
thank you for being on the show, and thank you so much for your book. People, I'm going to put the link in the description so people can actually find it. That is the cover of the book right there. It's beautiful. I absolutely loved it. I love the misty feel of it. I love the air in her hair. I love the way she's looking up. It's just beautiful. It just makes me want to go and get the book. I'm not lying to you. And I read a lot of books because we have a lot of authors here, and I try to read all of their books. I'm actually got a book that just came in that's about that thick. And
Oh
I'm
my
like, okay,
goodness.
that's gonna take me a minute. But man, I tell you what, thank you so much for doing this and showing everybody that it can be done. Even because you love the country and you went and you came back with this yearning. And I do hope that one day you can return.
Oh, absolutely. I sure hope so.
Yeah, definitely.
And in the meantime, I can
You
keep
can write
writing.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the book does have some pictures, so
Oh, nice. I like pictures in the book.
yeah, you get to see what you read.
That's so beautiful. That's got to be gorgeous. It's got to be great. Wow. Well, thank you, Eva or Eva, for being on the show. Miss Wright, thank you. Thank
Thank you
you so
for
much.
having me.
Oh, anytime, anytime.
Good
And
work.
when you finish your second book, you now have to come back. And of course, it's going to be a trilogy, so you got to come back again. So you're always welcome.
Well, thank you so much. I look forward to talking with you again.
And I look forward to having you back. And I look forward to you guys going ahead and going and looking at that book. You heard her. The hardest thing is to spread it around. So spread it around if you've ever wanted to go to Tibet, but you just can't get in because you're an American person and it's a blockage on American people going over there. You can actually pick up the book, check it out for yourself. And of course, you can go onto the Library of Congress and read about the story and how this is true. And you know what? This is just an amazing thing. I've learned so much today from Eva. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, the link to the book is in the description box below. So don't forget to check it out. And don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. See you later. And be good. All right? All right. Bye.
See you later.
Thank you for watching.